This fire started on Monday afternoon, which seems like several years ago now by everything we've done, but it's only been a few days, and in that time we've burned over 22,000 acres. This fire would have started off as a wind-driven fire, which means that when it first ignited, the wind caught it and ran. It ran 4,000 acres in the first burning period, the first afternoon. During that first afternoon, evacuations in the Apple Valley area were very difficult to do. We lost 3 permanent homes, 3 mobile homes in that area, but we managed to get everybody out safe and sound. A team was ordered, which is my team. It's a National Type 1 Incident Response Team. We took management of this fire on Tuesday at 1800. Since then, we are putting in place a strategy where we are, from the point of origin, working our way east, putting in fire lines to try and contain it. So across the whole southern end of the fire right now, which is pretty much paralleling the Highway 74, we have been putting in fire line there. We've evacuated the town and area of Trails End because the fire yesterday started backing down the slope into that area. It has slopped over into the other side, onto the desert side, and it's within 2 miles of Palm Springs. We've been concentrating effort in there to keep it on mid-slope using helicopters and retardant. So far, so good. It's hanging up very nicely on the mid-slopes and going out on that side. On this side, on the Idyllwild side, yesterday it made a major push to the northwest, and it started going over the top into the drainage just the other side of this range you can see right here. It was running pretty hard yesterday. It was putting up a column that was somewhere in the neighborhood of 25 to 30,000 foot elevation. What we're concerned about is what you see right here. When you get a column that puts out this much smoke, embers get into the column and can drop anywhere. It's going, for the next 2 days, is predicted to go right over the top of this town. We also have fire at the top of very steep slopes. If it gets down those slopes and makes a major run, we wouldn't have very much time to get people out of here. The evacuation plans that this community and most of the mountain communities around here have done are excellent. We got to test it yesterday. It told us that we'd need at least 12 hours to move everybody out of this town. We erred on the side of caution. We asked everybody to leave last night. We recommended it from the fire to the sheriffs that we get everybody out of here so that we can secure this without having to worry about folks in the way. We have several hotshot crews, several CAL FIRE resources. We are using quite the fleet of aircraft to fight this fire. We are the national priority right now, and we're doing pretty well. What you'll see right now is what's different for a wildland fire than, like, say, a structure fire. Usually when you see the column drop down on a structure fire, you're thinking, okay, we got it pretty secure. In a wildland fire, that's not necessarily the case. It just means you got a lull where you can start roping in more of it. Right now, we're into what we call the bewitching hours. This is when the column's going to start standing up on us, and this is when it's going to start moving. And we were very inverted with smoke this morning. The inversion is starting to lift. Once it starts to lift, that's when the column is going to start to lift because it kind of preheats everything. We have 11 air tankers that we're using to hold this in place. We have about 17 helicopters that we're using. We have almost 3,000 people assigned to this fire. So we would like to thank the community for their cooperation, their plans, their fuels breaks that they've been doing, all the fuels work that they've been doing since 2002 is very effective. It's giving us a margin of safety that we normally don't have. CAL FIRE and the Forest Service have been working very hard on this. We have a great working relationship. It's going very well right now. So far, we've not had any major injuries, and we would like to continue that. We've had a few dehydration cases. For the most part, most of our resources are coming from other fires, and we're making sure they're well fed, they're well watered, and they're getting a place to sleep. With that, then, would you like to join me up here?
Sure.
All right. What else can we tell them?
I just think that this has been a challenging fire at best. There's still a lot of hard work to do. We did issue an evacuation order, as the chief said, that affected almost 6,000 residents and 4,100 homes in the community of Idyllwild. It was evacuated very effectively thanks to the evacuation plan that was formed by the Mountain Area Safety Task Force Group. Like I said, as long as 11 years ago, the plan worked very effectively. And again, I want to extend the thanks of CAL FIRE and the County Fire Department to the citizens of Idyllwild for helping us effect that plan efficiently and very fast. What's your name, sir? Glenn Patterson.
All right. Would you like to say anything, Sheriff? Since you've implemented the evacuations.
Last night at 5:45 p.m., the Sheriff's Department started what we have, what we call a reverse 911. We sent out a pre-recorded message to over 2,600 phone numbers in the 9.4 square mile area in this mountain community of Idyllwild. It proved to be very successful when we brought our mobile field forces of deputies to knock on every door to advise them of the evacuation order. We found that the majority of the residents had already left. By early this morning, about 10 o'clock this morning, we had completed and we knocked on every door in this town of Idyllwild to advise every resident of the evacuation order. So as it stands now, we're formulating the repopulation plan for whenever that does occur, and we're maintaining patrols of the area that's been evacuated.
Any sense of how many people stayed behind?
The question is there any sense of how many people stayed behind? My sense is that those we contacted, fewer than 5% refused the evacuation.
You had any issues with people not wanting to leave? There was a gentleman I talked to at the shelter today that said one gentleman was up in a tree. I don't know if that was true or not, but I just asked the question.
The question is there people not wanting to leave, and those would be the people that refused the evacuation order. So there were a few, yes.
Are you operating under any kind of a timetable when the repopulation might happen, or any sense at all?
That repopulation is a joint decision with the Unified Fire Command, and we'll cooperate with them. When they say it's safe, then we'll start our repopulation plan.
Can you give us a sense of the scale of this fire? How does it compare to others?
I cannot. I would defer to my fire experts behind me on that.
Sir, can I reach your name?
My name is Scott Collins. I'm a captain with the Riverside County Sheriff's Department and the commander of the Hemet Station.
A 22,000 acre fire in Southern California is, I won't say common, but it's not uncommon. What's uncommon is for it to be this time of year. It's usually later in the fall. It is so dry right now that this is reacting like a late September, early October fire. It is a good thing we don't have Santa Ana winds right now, because then it would really run on us.
How close are the flames to the community of Idyllwild right now?
I'll talk in terms of air miles, because topography is kind of deceiving. It's probably two and a half air miles from Idyllwild, which sounds like a long ways, but it's really not in this kind of country because it's very steep.
What criteria have you established, or have you established criteria as to when you will allow people back in? When will it be safe? When will the community be sort of out of the woods?
If we can, we're working very diligently now with the aircraft and the hot trucks to get the stuff that's on this side of the ridge, of the South Ridge, contained. Once we get that contained, and we're sure that with the movement northwest that it's continuing to do, that it doesn't hook around and come back to Idyllwild from a different direction, then we'll probably go ahead and lift we'll recommend to the sheriff to lift the evacuations. But right now it's only been since last night. We haven't gotten to the bewitching hour yet, per se. We don't know what it's going to run today. We put a lot of stuff in place to hold it. We'll see how that goes.
You still estimating 15% containment, or has that changed?
It will actually go up this evening. They actually do a calculation. They have not done it yet.
Are you concerned with the coming weather?
Pardon me?
Are you concerned with the coming weather? Is that changing anything?
We are pretty concerned about the incoming weather. This area is influenced by the monsoons coming up out of Mexico. There is no guarantee that it'll bring us rain. What it could bring us is just wind or dry lightning. Either one is not a good option. That's why we're trying to contain it as fast as we can now.
How likely is it that the fire would reach here in Idyllwild?
Oh boy, I couldn't even guess. It's close enough, and that if it made a run into Idyllwild, we could do some stuff to slow it down, but I don't know that we would stop it. But our concern was it would be very difficult to get everybody out in a timely manner. There is very limited access to this town. And if you had folks trying to get out in a less orderly fashion, all it would take is one car going into a wreck or somebody's boat jacking the road or something to that effect to lock everybody in. And that's not the time to do it.
You said that with the current trajectory, the fire is expected to burn over this town in 2 days.
No, I didn't say
Okay,
that.
I'm sorry.
What I said was, with the wind right now is predicted to be an easterly flow for the next 2 days, which puts potential to have stuff dropping out of the column over the top of this town. And that's a problem. Yeah.
Talk about cause at this point.
All I know is it's human cause. It's under investigation.
Do you have arson investigators out here? Can you say that?
CAL FIRE has, they have law enforcement investigators come out that are arson qualified.
One other question, as far as Palm Springs, is that just the city limits? Are there any homes that are being threatened by that fire on the Palm Springs side?
Not right now.
Are you concerned about the tram on that side as Palm Springs goes?
Concerned about the tram in what way?
It's because they closed the tram today because of the fire nearby and the smoke. Are you concerned about it hitting that aerial tramway?
Not at this time. Is it potential if we get the wrong wind? If we had a thunder cell sit over the top of us, it would be a problem. But right now, no, it's not a problem.
Can you tell us what conditions the firefighters out there are operating under at the moment?
The firefighters are operating under extremely dry conditions. In the mornings where we're at in camp, it's somewhere in the neighborhood of about 38 degrees. In the afternoon, it's somewhere in the neighborhood of 98 to 115, depending on what side of the fire you're on. Keeping them well watered. They're working in very steep terrain. They're working in chaparral. They're working in timber. They're working in very rocky soil, so it's very arduous.
How long are they out per se on any given time? How are they being transitioned out to ensure that the fire stays safe?
The way we run a fire federally, we work them on a 12-hour shift. We'll put them out there for 12 hours, bring them back in, let them sleep, and put another shift out. The state does a 24-hour shift, and it blends very nicely together so that we have the state out there while we're trading out shifts, and we have continuous coverage out there. So when the state works 24, they take 24 off so that they get adequate rest, and we take 12 and 12 off so we get adequate rest.